What's up everybody, this is Ven welcoming you to another MOC Spotlight where we take apart what you build. For today's episode, we'll be going over Insectoid Rahi, created and posted to our message boards by Mechmaster. So before we get started, let me remind you of my method of reviewing, which involves a point system that is based on 3 fundamental attributes: the overall appearance of the MOC, the build of the MOC itself, and the concept and ideas behind the MOC's creation. Each quality will mount up to 5 points, leading up to a final score that will be determined at the end of the episode. And please remember that this is all based on my opinion. So let's get this started. Hey, check out this MOC. I guess you could say it looks pretty fly. You know what I'm saying? It kind of looks like a fly. I personally haven't really seen too many MOCs based on bugs, so seeing this MOC from the get-go already got me a little intrigued. In comparison to some of the other MOCs we've seen, there are no humanoid aspects to this MOC whatsoever, and yet it's still supposed to represent some sort of creature, so that's pretty neato indeedo. And it looks to be appropriately detailed with the head and the body, thorax and whatnot, all these different body parts having the proper features. Like the head here has the antenna and the pincher things. These long spindly legs that stick out from the body, and this long stinger tail thing, and these wings. All these unique and distinct features. And for the most part, you can pretty much tell what is supposed to be what. Although I will say the monochromatic color scheme kinda threw me off guard a little bit. Since everything is all black, I almost couldn't tell where the eyes were. And I'm glad to see that at least the wings have some silver in them, but I honestly feel like this is a missed opportunity to introduce a really interesting color, like maybe a yellow or a green, because as it stands right now, this MOC it looks a little boring on the colorful side of things. And it's also a little rough around the edges. It kind of has this boxy look to it, so it doesn't really look all that natural. And well, I'll talk more about that in just a second, but so far I'd say it looks pretty neat. It's a really simple design, but at least it's not boring, especially not when you're looking at the build, which in of itself is really creative. And aside from a very select few parts, this MOC looks to be purely built out of Technic elements, which is why it looks so boxy. Because, the Technic parts all have this kind of blocky, I guess I should have said blocky to begin with. What the heck? What does boxy mean? What is boxy? I've never even heard that before until I started saying it. But no, the Technic parts give this MOC a more blocky appearance, which may not look the greatest, but at least it gives us a fairly solid build that is not only well balanced, but also well articulated, well, for the most part, because the legs are a bit limited in that aspect, but that's more than likely for the sake of stability. Otherwise, this MOC would probably be flippity-flopping around and turning itself into a pretzel. I don't know, bad things happen when you don't build them properly. Or when you build things properly, the bad things will happen. Yeah. And now, can we just talk about how this MOC actually has a really neat function built into it? It's not like a launcher or anything, or a transformation feature. It's actually pretty old-fashioned. What we have here is a gear function that's used here to flap the wings up and down and whatnot. I mean, just look at this demonstration. This is amazing. Neat stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's freaking crazy. And sure, it might not be the most impressive function to some of you petty freaking cheese balls, but at least it's something. And you know what? I like that. I like that this MOC's got a good bit of creativity thrown into it, you know what I mean? That's not a part that you could just buy anywhere. That's some unique stuff. Now, conceptually, this MOC was supposedly inspired by dragonflies, spiders, and mosquitoes. And yet, it somehow reminds me of a big black wasp. I mean, where did all that go? I mean, I guess I could kind of see some aspects of, say, like the dragonfly with the wings and the thorax, and then the mosquito, I guess, the wings and the thorax, sort of. But the spiders? Where's the spider part? I guess to be inspired by something doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be incorporating some features of it into your own creation. So hey, it's whatever, but it still took me through a loop there, just a little bit. Because in the end, this MOC is simply just known as the Insectoid Rahi MOC, and I think it fills that role quite well. Definitely looks like some kind of insect. And the builder actually intended for this MOC to look like something straight out of 2001 Bionicle. You know, it wanted to capture that same style that a lot of the Rahi back then had, which pretty much explains why he primarily used Technic parts in his build and incorporated that neat gear function. So I'd say it looks pretty fitting aside from the boring color scheme because, well, each of the Rahi back then had some sort of different color scheme to go along with a primarily black build. Like the new Jaga, they were built with black parts and then blue and purple parts right over them. The Tarkava, same sort of deal. And then this guy is just all black. So I definitely feel like another color should have been introduced into this MOC, and not only would it have been a lot more interesting to look at, but it also would have been more fitting for the MOC's goal. It also probably would have been a good idea to introduce some masks into the build as well, just to kind of pay homage to all the old Rahi that had a bunch of masks on them for some reason. So, you know, kind of some missed opportunities here, but overall it's a pretty decent job. And I don't really got much else to say, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the final score so I can wrap up my thoughts and we can get this all over with. So then I can move on with my life, and then you can move on with your life, and we can all move on and have fun building our own MOCs or something. So, in terms of appearance, this MOC receives a 3.5 out of 5. It's a pretty okay looking MOC. It's got a decent, unique design. Pretty simple, and also a little rough around the edges. And, you know, I definitely feel like there's room for improvement in terms of making this MOC look a little more aesthetically interesting. But hey, it's definitely not bad. In terms of the build, this MOC receives 4.5 out of 5. Yeah, when it comes to this MOC's build, there's not a whole lot I can really ask for, except for maybe a function, and the function's there. So that's great. So we got a solid build, a good range of posability, and a custom play feature. And sure, maybe some parts could have been swapped around to make this MOC look a little better, but personally I feel like the amount of creativity put in such a simple MOC kind of outshines that by a good bit. And in terms of the concept, I give this MOC a 3.5 out of 5. Does the builder achieve his goals? Yes. Does he do so with flying colors? Not really. Again, I do feel like it's a big missed opportunity to not introduce some color and something else into the MOC to make it pop a bit more and fit more with the theme. But it does its job of looking like an insect and having this cool play feature thrown into it and all this and that. The builder had some good ideas, but I guess what really drags it down for me in this area is just the appearance, which I feel goes hand in hand with the concept. So, with all that said, we are left with a final score of 11.5 out of 15, which is pretty good for your first time, Mechmaster. Good job, and congratulations for making it onto the MOC Spotlight. I do hope to see more out of you, and the same goes for you viewers watching this video right now. Please leave the video to go post your own creations onto our message boards at board.tdppodcast.com. That should be the only reason why you stop watching this video, is to go post your creations or maybe take a nap after listening to me talk for almost 10 minutes straight. So, either way, you'd be doing yourself a favor by catching some Z's or possibly earning yourself your very own MOC Spotlight. So, I shall leave you with that. Go do your thing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.